Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Adil, and I have a big passion for sharing my knowledge and helping people develop their skills and becoming the best version of themselves. This channel is all about software development, DevOps, and cloud technology. In this series, getting started with Python in 2022, we started in lesson number 1 with very basic lines of code, and then we're developing together into more complex use cases and a complete business application. So lesson 3, it's all about SQLAlchemy and SQL. In the lessons 3A and 3B, we have written some functions in Python to create a table, to add new rows to this table person, to add a person with name, age, and city, and also to display all the data in this table using a pandas data frame. In the lesson 3B, we used the extension SQL. Let me check. To access the data and use some SQL statements to display the information. What we are going to do today is, let me hide this. We are going to write 2 additional Python functions, delete person and update person. I will also show you how to use the match case syntax that you may know from other languages like Java or C or C++. There it's called switch. And of course, along the way, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks using Visual Studio with some extensions and so on. So I hope you will enjoy watching this video, and if you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, as this will help me continue creating similar content. Yeah, so then let's get started. That was the code that we wrote in lesson 3A. We're going to leave it as it is, and then we are going to copy this file and paste it in the same directory. We are going to rename this file and call it main2. By clicking on this icon, you can show and hide the Explorer, which gives you more space here. So, as I said, the first thing that we want to do is, instead of using the if-else statement, we are going to use the match case, like match mode. And what does it mean is, depending on the value of mode, if it's equal to 1, do this. Otherwise, default do this. So we want to create different modes instead of just add, because we want to create different functions. So let's type something to the user. We want to have an add mode, delete mode, and update mode. So we are going to ask the user to enter a mode. So please select mode 1, 2, 3, or press enter to display. We want to have a backslash n, which will create new line and then explain what mode 1, 2, 3 means. So 1 means add, 2 means delete, 3 means update. We want to use different functions. So we have here the function add person. Let's add a new function that we want to call delete person. And to delete person, we need to know the ID of this person to identify it. All right. So here we used insert. Let's call this statement. And execute statement. The syntax for delete is going to be similar, so I'm just going to copy and paste here. Copy and paste. So our statement is not going to be an insert statement, it's going to be a delete statement. So delete, and then instead of value, we need to enter a where condition. Where we need to type the table name, person, dot C for column, and then ID. So the delete statement knows that it's only can delete the row where the ID is equal to value that we have passed. And of course, we create the connection and then execute the statement. And we want to add a person with ID equal to ID has been deleted from the database. And here we go. So mode 2, so we need to add case to, we want the user to enter an ID, so we need to catch the variable by asking the user to type ID. So please enter the ID of the person to be deleted. And as next, we will call the new function that we named delete person, and pass ID as an argument. All right, start terminal and call 3 and 2. All right, so here the console is asking us to select one of the mode, 1, 2, 3, or press any key to, or press enter to display all. So I'm going to press enter, and I am going to see that I have 2 entries, Carlos 50 from Mexico and Adil 46 from Colombia. So what we want to do next is choose delete, and here we are asked to enter the ID of the person we want to delete. We want to delete Adil. Adil has ID number 3, so let's type 3. And here we have the message person with ID 3 has been deleted from the database. And if we call the script again, enter, we see we only have 1 entry in the database. So Adil has been deleted from the database. We can, of course, add Adil again. We have the function to do so. It's add mode 1. Adil is still 45 and lives in Frankfurt. Adil has been added to the database. And if we call the script again, press enter, we see that we have 2 entries. What we want to do next is add a third mode, update, and add the function update to our code. So let's close the terminal window and go back to our match case statement and add a third option, case 3. And case 3 means update. So we want to ask the user to enter an ID the person that need to be updated. Please enter the ID of the person to be updated. Updated. And we need to ask for name, age, and city. Please enter the new value for name, the new value for age, and the new value for city. Last function that we are going to call update person. Update person need an ID to identify the person that we want to update, and we'll need the attributes name, age, and city. Sorry, def. And the syntax is going to be a little bit similar to the syntax for insert. But insert we want to use the update. So person update, we are still missing something. We need the condition where person ID equal to ID. And then for the values, we want to set name equal to name, age, and city, and so on. And I think that should be it. We can try it. We want to print. Let's copy this line and replace it here. The person with ID has been updated. Looks good so far. The only thing that is missing is here with mode 3, we need to call the update person and of course pass the ID, the name, the age, and the city. Okay. Looks good so far. Now let's start the terminal. And let's call our script and enter. We have 2 persons in our database. Let's add a 3rd person by clicking add. Please enter name. Let's say John. John is 30 from New York City. So John has been added. Let's check the database. So we have 3. Now let's choose update 3. And we are asked to enter the ID of the person we want to update. We want to update John. John has the ID 4. So what's the name? It's still John. Age, John has turned 31. And for the city, we want to write New York City. Okay, here we go. Person with ID 4 has been updated. Let's check again. And we see the entries for John has been updated. Yeah. So in our next lesson, we are going to move a step forward and expose those functions as API, as RESTful API calls. So we don't need to use the terminal to access those functions. We can use different tools like Postman or an extension in Visual Studio to call those APIs to be able to store and retrieve the data in and out of the database. So I hope you liked watching this video. And again, if you like this content and been getting information out of it, consider subscribing. This will help me create more. Thank you for watching and see you soon in lesson number 4. Bye bye.